This assignment is going to require you to do some work with layers on Google Earth. The first thing you want to do is download the file that I've given you, which is called Major U.S. Watersheds. When that's open on Google Earth, it should look something like this. This will give you the opportunity to zoom in and choose a watershed that you're interested in exploring and looking at. Once you've done that and chosen one, you can turn this layer off by unclicking it on the layers window. So I'm going to be looking at the Salinas watershed. That's what I've chosen. So I will click that and turn it off now. The next thing to do is to go to the website I gave you, which is a USGS page that has individual KML files for a bunch of different watersheds. Here you should be able to find most, if not all, of the watersheds that were on that other KML layer that you just looked at. For example, the Salinas is located right here, and when I click on that, it's going to download it as a KML file. I can then go ahead and save that and open it up later. I've already done that, so I'm going to go back to Google Earth. When I go back to Google Earth and click on this layer, a bunch of things load up here, including a bunch of information that deals with land cover and other information that includes population and elevation and things like that. I actually don't need all of this information for this assignment. And if you're using a really large watershed, a lot of this stuff is just going to get in the way. So you can actually delete the layers that you don't want. And I'm going to delete everything except for the streams and the land cover. Once I've done that, I can go back up to the Salinas watershed, and I can go to File, Save, and then Save Place as long as it's highlighted, and resave it so you have an easier file to work with and also to send to me as well, because you're going to need to send this to me on Blackboard so I can look at your watershed. The next thing you're going to do is go down to the streams layer, which in my case is open, but you might need to open it. You can turn it off and on. But the really interesting thing here is that you can turn off different layers of streams. So each of these streams represents another volume of water that moves through that streams. The very small streams are shown in this lightest blue color, and the darker ones, or the larger ones, in the darker blue colors. So I'm going to turn them all off actually, and you'll see that the streams completely disappear. And then I'm going to zoom in a bit. One of the things I want you to do is first understand the importance of layers and how layers allow us to sort through and filter data so that we can look at what we want to look at. But then it's also going to allow us to visualize the watershed a little bit and perhaps match that watershed to some of the drainage patterns that are shown in the textbook. Let me turn the smallest layers on here, the small streams on, and you'll see that there's a lot of lines here, and most of them look very dendritic in nature because dendritic streams are predominant in really small geographic areas. But if I go up to the next layers, this is the largest stream, the largest part of the Salinas, and then click on the next size streams, you'll see that there's some other interesting patterns here. Do you see how the streams form this trellis-like form? This is a folded landscape with some trellis patterns in it, as well as a couple of other things that are going on here too. But we're able to cut out the noise of all these smaller streams, which would really confuse things to us, like this. I want you to experiment with this, see what you can figure out. Send me the entire stream file, large and small streams, but get rid of that other information. Write an essay in which you talk about not only the streams and the patterns you see, but also how the GIS system here and the layers of information allow us to filter through what we want to see and what we don't want to see. That's the assignment. Let me know if you have questions.